Today we celebrate one of my favorite things in the treasure community, a first attempt, a fresh set of eyes, a fresh heart, and a fresh theory. This is a solve from a nascent treasure hunter who's diving into the clues with curiosity and creativity, and landing in the rugged beauty of Oregon's Imnaha River. Let's walk through their proposed solve. Imnaha River, Oregon. The name Imnaha comes from land ruled over by Imna, a local Native American subchief. The hunter suggests this could echo the poem's line, "In Ursa east his realm awaits." Reading it as east of the Imnaha River lies the realm. Hope Creek. Following the Imnaha south, you hit Freeze-Out Creek, then Hope Creek heading east. As Hope surges clear and bright, the hunter connects this to Hope Creek, noting it seems to stop abruptly, perhaps even running dry. Walk near water's silent flight. Dry creek beds, silent watercourses. This might fit. Granny Viewpoint and Jim Spring. Climbing up from Hope Creek, the hunter points out Jim Spring, possibly representing the hole in the clue. Round the bend past the hole. Then you hit Granny Viewpoint, perhaps his bride standing guard. Double Creek north of Granny Viewpoint is Double Creek, lining up with the line, "Double arcs on granite bold." Return to Imnaha River. Finally, descending back to the Imnaha, the hunter connects the last lines. Like a river's steady flow, what you seek, you already know. Ending where you began, but this time with focus. This solve is full of heart. Is it perfect? Maybe not. But it shows exactly what makes this hunt so special. A fresh perspective, a willingness to explore, a creative leap into clues and connections. So here's my call to the community. Let's lift up these first-time hunters. What do you think of the Imnaha River Solve? What advice would you give this hunter, and have you walked those Oregon creeks? Today we dive into a stellar theory, one shared by Seagirl, whose map-driven, constellation-inspired solve may be pointing us closer to the treasure than we've ever been. This is where the sky meets the Montana earth. Let's break it down. Seagirl studied Ursa Major and Ursa Minor early on. Those two familiar northern constellations wrap around the north celestial pole, Polaris, the North Star. Ursa Major looks as if it were rotating around Polaris. So when she reads Justin's line, "In Ursa east his realm awaits," she translates it as "bare east of Polaris." On the ground, Seagirl's Polaris isn't just a star, it's a starting point. And her map covers southwest Montana, specifically between Beaverhead County and Madison County. There, in the shadows of the Pioneer Mountains and Big Hole Pass, she's building a constellation on the land. She's now calculating 20 degrees directionally east of Polaris. Why? Because Justin hinted that technical knowledge would be useful, and plotting degrees off Polaris? That's pure navigation, part of ancient and modern wayfinding. Where does that point? Near Twin Bridges, Montana. Let's paint that picture. Twin Bridges sits at the confluence of three rivers, the Ruby, the Big Hole, and the Beaverhead, all feeding into the Jefferson River. It's legendary for blue ribbon trout fishing, a dreamland for anglers. And Justin? He proudly identifies as an angler. That same area lies along the migration and grazing path for crane birds. And if you watch the Netflix scenes carefully, you'll spot a crane featured in Justin's visuals. So maybe Seagirl's onto something. Maybe the treasure isn't just east of Polaris on the star chart, but bare east of the symbolic north, on Montana's physical, historic, and ecological map. It's where rivers meet, where anglers dream, where cranes pass overhead, and where the shadow of wisdom touches the Pioneer Mountains. So here's the big question. If you were to stand in Seagirl's constellation, at the confluence under the shadow of Polaris, would the rivers guide you to the final point? Drop your thoughts below. Are we looking in the right sky and the right county? While the rest of us are chasing clues in the dark, poring over maps, tracing creeks, marking intersections, someone claims they've cracked the code. Not with shovels, not with topography, not even with coordinates, but with rhythmic resonance and astral encoding. Meet Benjamin, an aeronautics engineer with a comic-level solution to the hunt. He says, "It's done. The solve is complete. Not because I'm smarter, but because I listened." So what does Benjamin bring to the table? Let's break it down. He starts with stanza 1 of the poem. find what lives in time. Benjamin says this isn't spatial, it's temporal. He mapped the poem's meter, its time signature, against the Schumann resonance during the equinox. That's right, the planet's natural electromagnetic pulse. According to him, the spikes lined up with lines 2, 5, and 11, forming a golden triangle across 3 stanzas. If you've studied cyclic semantic drift, he says, this is obvious. Then there's this. In Ursa East, his realm awaits. You thought that meant Ursa Major? Benjamin says, wrong. To him, Ursa is a phonetic cipher for uranium storage area, east of Wise River. His bride is Mount Hagen. Her foot of 3 at 20 degree points to a triple split tributary at a 20 degrees bearing during late spring melt, but only if you run Watershed Model 5.1b. But wait, it gets better. Return her face to find the place. According to Benjamin, this isn't a poetic riddle. It's a reverse orientation command. You turn your back on her known face, walk 180 degrees, and wait for the terrain to speak in double arcs. And no, granite bold isn't a rock formation. It's a cipher tag in the USGS Bedrock Survey for crystalline outcrops near Argenta. Finally, the closing line, what you seek, you already know. Benjamin says this isn't metaphor, it's memory trigger activation. The treasure is designed to be found only when your brain hits a harmonic frequency with the narrative. That's why, and I kid you not, he fasted, inverted the poem using ternary palindromic reduction, and slept near the bend by the hole. And his final message? Leaving tonight. You won't hear from me again. So, what do you think, hunters? Is Benjamin the brilliant outsider who cracked the code no one else could see? Or is this just another cosmic rabbit hole with no map, no trail, and no ending? Drop your thoughts below, because in this game, sometimes the wildest solves leave the deepest marks. Today we celebrate a special kind of victory, not a full solve, but a halfway breakthrough that's lighting up the community. This is Resolve Historical's partial solve, and it's packed with sharp thinking, personal heart, and just the right mix of Montana magic. First, a huge thank you to Justin Posey. Because as Resolve Historical says, thank you for bringing your love of treasure hunting to the world. This story reminds us that treasure hunting isn't just about gold. It's about family, about story, and about how we, ordinary people, turn clues into something extraordinary. Resolve Historical is a single mom, helping her daughter through nursing school, working with what she has, and what she has is passion and obsession. She's been poring over the clues, and here's where she's landed so far. Let's walk through the highlights. Wisdom, Montana. A starting point tying back to Justin's clock change to 403. Highway 43. Ursa East becomes Bear East. Not just stars, but directional clues. Big Hole Pass, Polaris, and the confluence of rivers near Twin Bridges, including the Ruby, Big Hole, and Beaverhead, feeding into the Jefferson. Granite Bold, likely a double arc formation, possibly linked to geological marks near Argenta or old mines. Lower Cleve Mines, 20 degrees from Polaris, near Highway 422, matching the foot of 3 at 20 degree line. But here's what makes this solve special. It's not just maps. It's not just clues. It's the emotional depth. Resolve Historical points to Justin's love for his family, his grandfather Merrill Wayne Fitzwater, and the way the treasure is tied not to danger or money, but to places and stories that shaped him. She's seeing the poem as literal directions, with each line giving step-by-step guidance. What you seek, you already know. She believes that's not just philosophy, it's a plain sight confirmation that once you line up the clues, you already hold the answer. And yes, she knows she can't travel right now. She knows someone else may claim the prize, but she asks, if my solve helps you find it, please remember me. That's what makes this treasure hunt more than just a chase. It's a community, where one person's insight can lift the whole circle. So, what do you think? Is Resolve Historical onto something? Is Bear East the right path? Are the rivers, the mines, the big hole all part of the true map? Sometimes the best treasures we uncover are each other. We shift our perspective, not east, not west, but up. Because among the flood of theories, one quietly persistent idea keeps resurfacing. Maybe the solve isn't just about location. Maybe it's about height. Let's unpack what's being called the right height solve. Here's the idea. What if the treasure isn't just placed at a horizontal point on the map, but at a specific elevation? Not a random slope, not any old meadow or creek, but at a measured vertical position that lines up with clues hidden across the poem and the book. We already know the treasure has to be accessible. No Indiana Jones stunts, no dangerous climbing. But the right height theory suggests Justin Posey may have hidden it where elevation itself matters. Why? Because elevation is personal. It's tied to where you can breathe, where you can fish, where old mines and trails flatten into ridges, where stories, especially family stories, echo from places like Big Hole Pass, Polaris, Bannock, and the Pioneer Mountains. Justin has said the location is dear to my heart, but also within reach, and not requiring any dangerous stunt work. That might mean an elevation you can reach on foot or by ATV, a height near a waterline or a fishing spot, a place marked by the landscape itself, not because it's famous, but because it's the right height. Some hunters think the poem contains subtle references to elevation. Her foot of 3 at 20 degree? Could that mark a vertical step? Double arcs on granite bold? Might that describe rock layers that only align at a specific altitude? What you seek, you already know. Does it point to a height familiar to Justin's childhood memories? Let's not forget, Justin's clues rule out extreme conditions. No dangerous snowpacks, no permit-only backcountry zones, within a mile of the road or parking. That narrows the vertical window to somewhere reachable, but not necessarily flat. Sometimes the best hiding spots are just a few feet above where most people look. So what do you think, hunters? Is the right height the missing clue? Is the solve not just about where, but about how high? We bring you a bold, confident claim from one of the sharpest voices in the hunt. They call themselves The Proposal, and they've lined up the clues, the maps, and the evidence, landing on what they call their final best guess. Let's break it down. Here's what we know, based on Justin's hints. It's in the American West. It's near water, likely a river or lake where you can cast a pole. You go past a landmark called The Hole. There are granite formations, possibly double arches. There's a connection to Ursa, or bears, and it's less than a mile from a road. So where does that leave us? Across the west, a few big-name contenders pop up. Snake River Overlook, Wyoming. Past the Hole, Jackson Hole. Near Granite Tetons, near a road. Arches National Park, Utah. Double Arch, Colorado River. Iconic granite shapes. Bear Lake, Utah, Idaho. Ties to Ursa, easy access. Yosemite Valley, California. Granite giants like El Capitan, Merced River. But if the treasure's in Montana, where Justin's personal lore and family history point, we narrow the field. Here are the proposal's top 3 Montana picks. Final best guess, Yellowstone River, Yankee Jim Canyon. Coordinates 45.2267 degrees and 110.8595 degrees W. Why? Water's silent flight. Yellowstone River, past the Hole. Paradise Valley north of Yellowstone. Granite bold. Towering canyon cliffs. Fishing, history, road access. Check, check, check. Runner-up, Beartooth Pass, Red Lodge. Coordinates 45.0711 degrees. 109.4292 degrees. You bear equal sign, Ursa reference. Beartooth Highway, nearby lakes, rivers, and rugged granite. Easily accessible viewpoints. Third place, Lewis and Clark Caverns, Three Forks coordinates, 45.8372 degrees N, 111.8516 degrees, W double arches and limestone caverns. Jefferson River for fishing. Historic connection to explorers. Road access and visitor infrastructure. So, after weighing all clues, the proposal lands confidently on Yankee Jim Canyon, nestled along the Yellowstone River, steeped in history and sitting just off Highway 89. But here's the thing. Even the strongest solve is still an invitation. An invitation for you, the searcher, to test, to challenge, to explore. Will this be the spot Or is the true answer still waiting, just beyond the map's edge? See you on the trail. We bring you the tale of a treasure hunter who went deep into the clues, chased the trail past the big hole, and for a moment, just a moment, thought they'd cracked it, until they didn't. This is the story of the Big Hole Solve. But it wasn't. Our hunter took on the poem line by line, placing each phrase into the heart of Beaverhead County, Montana, specifically near the Big Hole River and Big Hole Battlefield. Here's the breakdown. Can you find what lives in time? The treasure waits in the present, flowing through each measured rhyme. The clues live inside the poem itself. Wisdom waits in shadowed sight. From Big Hole Battlefield, you can see the silhouette, the shadow of Wisdom, Montana. Walk near water's silent flight. Follow the calm, steady edge of the river. Round the bend, past the hole, go past the battlefield trail, around the bend. I wait for you to cast your pole. Get ready. Metal detector or sharp eyes equipped. In Ursa East his realm awaits. Bear East, 20 degrees off the starting point. Double arcs on granite bold. Look for river bends marked by granite boulders, common along the North Fork Big Hole River. Where secrets of the past still hold, the echoes of the 1877 battle hang in the landscape. What you seek, you already know. The clues were there all along, and then the X. At 45.6, 478220, comma dash 113.6475570, comma on Google Maps, an unmistakable X popped into view, a treasure hunter's dream. But the land went back much further than expected. The double arcs were over a mile from the road. And worse, private property. No go. That's when our hunter decided to step back, put this solve to rest, and keep looking. But here's the real win. Even when the solve didn't hold, this treasure hunter didn't quit. They saw the history, they traced the landscape, and they stayed ready to keep exploring Beaverhead County. Because that's the heart of the hunt. Sometimes X marks the spot, and sometimes it marks where you start over. We explore a beautiful and deeply symbolic solve, one that weaves together Montana history, Native American legend, and the sacred spaces of the Nez Perce Trail. This is the Meadows Solve, where the hunt is not just a puzzle, but a journey of respect, memory, and circular meaning. Let's walk through this step by step. The setting Meadows is a stop on the Nez Perce Historic Trail, a path marked by struggle, memory, and sacred meaning. The Nez Perce crossed Yellowstone, touching places like the Madison River, which ties back to Justin's brother, and echoes with themes of loss and family honor. The clues unfold. Can you find what lives in time, flowing through each measured rhyme? This isn't just a puzzle. It's a reflection on memories, on Justin's life, and the shaping forces that echo through his family's past. Wisdom waits in shadowed sight. Begin in Wisdom, Montana, the town that quietly holds its place in this journey. Walk near water's silent flight. Travel past Jackson Hot Springs. Move alongside rivers and creeks that carry you quietly toward meaning. Round the bend, past the hole. Navigate Big Hole Pass, then move north toward Polaris. In Ursa East his realm awaits. The bear, a sacred symbol in Native American lore, stands for strength, wisdom, and healing. His bride stands guard at ancient gates. Here the solve beautifully layers symbolism. The bear mother, the wise river, and Lady Wisdom from biblical tradition. 3 tributaries, Jacobson, Mono, Happy Creek, form a triple-foot shape resembling the foot of a sandhill crane. Return her face to find the place. The Wise River's face once flowed into the Big Hole River, which was originally named the Wisdom River by Lewis and Clark. To return her face means to follow the Big Hole back to the headwaters at Skinner Lake. The sacred space Skinner Meadows, with its gentle, slow-moving waters, is described as a resting place, a site of peace on the trail, and a blue-ribbon trout stream beloved by anglers. Double arcs on granite bold? You may need boots on the ground to find that exact marker. But the bigger picture? It's here. This solve isn't tangled, it isn't twisted. It's circular, a return to wisdom, a loop through history, a journey that honors both past and present. We follow a bold and fascinating theory. one that leaves the familiar landscapes of Montana and Wyoming behind, and heads deep into the red rock heart of Sedona, Arizona. This solve is from Justin Posey Treasure. This is the Sedona Solve, anchored at Woo Ranch, near Bear Mountain, and the sacred alcoves of ancient petroglyphs. Let's break this solve down step by step. Stanza 1 and 2. Water's silent flight. The hunter's key insight here is that water's silent flight doesn't necessarily mean flowing rivers. Instead, it points to dry washes, ancient creek beds, or erosion patterns where water once ran. These silent, absent waters leave evidence etched across the land. The hole and the bend. Moving past these dry waterways, the hunter aligns the hole with the birthing cave, a Sedona landmark shaped like a womb with a half-spherical entrance. To reach it, you round bends and cross through washes, following natural desert paths toward Kachina Woman, the striking sandstone pillar many call the bride. Bear East and his bride. In Ursa East, his realm awaits. Here, Bear Mountain anchors the solve. Facing east from the Kachina, Woman aligns you with the direction toward Bear Mountain's realm. The bride, Kachina Woman, guards the symbolic ancient gates, marking the entrance to deeper canyons. Double arcs on granite bold. This line sparks a brilliant reinterpretation. The hunter notes, it's arcs, not arches. It's on granite, not of granite. They connect this to the petroglyph symbols at Woo Ranch, ancient arc shapes representing water, perhaps even rain, waterfalls, or lightning. These preserved rock markings hidden at the edge of the mapped Pulaski Heritage Site hold stories beyond the reach of time's swift race. Wonder guards. This sacred space here, wonder is the key word. The hunter recalls Justin's memory of watching raccoons live inside a fallen cottonwood tree, marveling at how nature provided a home in the ruins. This suggests the treasure may be hidden within a rockfall, a collapsed tree, or another natural structure that offers a hidden sanctuary for wildlife. The final search zone. The best guess? A rock pile near the base of Bear Mountain, in or near Woo Ranch, close to petroglyph alcoves but not inside protected archaeological sites. It's an area reached by crossing dry washes, rounding natural bends, and standing in the shadow of ancient symbols and sacred cliffs. This solve is packed with detail, woven through history, legend, and landscape. It ties together native symbolism, ancient rock art, dry waterways and silent clue, and the emotional echoes of Justin's personal stories. So, what do you think? Is the Sedona Solve the right path? Is Woo Ranch, hidden just beyond the public map, the treasure's true home?